Good evening. This is Badrinath saying for U.S. Impact, U.S. Indo-American Political Action Committee of Texas. Today we have with us Laura Rummel. Laura, thank you for being with us today over here.
Me.
And Laura is running for City Council of Frisco, place 5. And Laura, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? What do you do for a living?
So I work for a payment processor. I run an account management team where we are responsible for multiple billions of dollars processed throughout the nation. And on the side, I am an animal advocate where I do a lot of volunteering with the local animal rescue.
Okay, that's nice. So what are your top five priorities for running in this election?
Okay, so my top priorities are going to be, one, our infrastructure. I find it is incredibly important to make sure that we have all of our streets are developed and maintained. We need the connections, both east, west, and north and south, to be completed to help relieve the traffic that we're experiencing now. Second priority is going to be monitoring our population densities to ensure that we are not overpopulating a specific area. One of the ways that I'm hoping to do this is adjust the apartment maximum capacities and height regulations to where we make them available, but make them available in certain areas. So that way we're not crowding a neighborhood with a 5-story new apartment complex. Third priority is going to be, one of the city's Vision 2020 goals is a Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. This is something I am personally incredibly passionate about. I work for a startup. I want to see us have the ability to bring more startups here, help make them successful. I want to see us bring access to venture capitalists, board members, support resources, all things that can help make this a destination, and a partnership with UNT that can help bring the labor force into the startups that we're looking to start. These are great growth opportunities. They're slow and steady, and they're usually high paying, which brings more money to Frisco. My passion projects, as I mentioned, I'm a huge animal advocate. I would love to do more with making Frisco even more pet friendly than it is today. And then also I am a huge advocate for our parks. I spend a lot of time in it. I want to make sure that our parks are properly maintained to be the best that they can possibly be. And as well as with Grand Park coming soon, I want to make sure that we have the funding to make sure that that's everything we dream it's going to be.
Interesting. So when you say apartments and you say that we need to be cautious about where it's coming up and so on. So what are your key criteria of saying that, okay, the park should come up over here versus there or something of those lines?
Yeah, so when we're looking at apartment complexes, we need to look at how they are going to impact the areas around them. For example, if you have neighborhoods surrounding a community and then you put an apartment complex right next to it in an open field with a huge amount of capacity, that's going to put strain on schools. It's going to put strain on the traffic. It's going to put strain on our public safety, who's not yet prepared for additional headcount that they have to oversee. So I want to make sure that we are putting it in the more populated areas, like, for example, our beautiful Frisco Square that we're in now. I would like to see where the new PGA is going to go. That is a wonderful place for apartments to go right off the tollway. And even over by the Star, our live, work, and play areas are really where these big apartments should go, where we have walkable access to different things like restaurants, entertainment, even work. That alone will also help us to relieve the traffic problem.
So one of the issues which we saw pretty recently come up was the Brinkman Ranch, where we're talking about some high-density apartments coming up. But it seems as if the approval for that particular project was way back in 1980s, if I'm not mistaken. So how would you counter something like that?
So those are some of the more tricky situations. We have given out some of the apartment rights in certain areas. And Brinkman Ranch is actually a great example where we did our best as a city, and I would give a lot of credit to them, where they actually reduced the amount of apartments that are going into that space.
That is true.
And that's exactly what we need to be doing. When we've granted these rights that are going to overpopulate certain areas, we need to make sure that we work with the developers and make what's actually right for Frisco. I'm actually thrilled with one of the projects in Brinkman Ranch. They're doing a 1-story apartment complex, which to me, that's a perfect example of where we can service our senior citizens that we don't have as much as what I would like to see us have today.
Sure. So when it comes to different types of businesses coming in, any plans on those lines as to how you're going to attract various businesces?
Yes.
And any specific kind of business you're looking for?
Yes, that's where I'm going back to my startup, something near and dear to my heart. I'm actually not for bringing huge organizations into our area right now, just because we do have so much already planned. I don't know where we would put one, to be honest. But startups, on the other hand, small businesses, we have plenty of room and space for them to be here, for them to grow as we as Frisco grow. And so I would really focus on using my connections to help bring additional startups, small businesses, bring them to Texas, Frisco specifically, and make sure that we continue to grow in a very smart way.
So when it comes to startups, they always look for two, three attractions. Number one is talent. The second one is whether they are getting any kind of benefits from the city. It could be tax breaks, or it could be a simple investments. What is your area of interest, and what would you be able to bring in?
So what I would like to see is one, I'll address the talent pool. Number one, with us having UNT next to it, I think you've got a great area for an incubation of internships and young, energetic talent pool that's ready to put their life and soul into a company that the startups really need if they're going to be successful. I think that we need to provide support services. We have an incubator right now that, or we had one. I would like to see us restructure that, have an incubator building where we help to bring the venture capitalists to our startups as potential opportunities for the startups to pitch to them. I would like to see us coordinate with support services like a lawyer, HR specialist, different aspects that you can't afford when you're a startup. You need these shared resources to be able to become successful and have that kind of guidance. I would like to see that be a part of this incubator that we put together, that we bring some of the support services that allows them to be successful.
So you're saying that these kind of services as incubator, you would provide it as part of the city?
Correct.
And does that mean that you will be utilizing some taxpayers' money for high-risk programs?
What it would be is if we own that building, these startups are still going to pay rent to be able to be in that building. So being able to take advantage of that larger space, we would still be collecting funds for that. It would not be something you will find. I would never for anything that's going to cost us more money than we actually have. I am very conscious about that.
Okay.
One of the things that I want to make sure that we do is we would incorporate that into their rent as a service, but they don't have to spend the energy of going to find it and figuring out how to put something together. That service is already built into their rent. They already have those resources at their fingertips.
Sure. Nice plans. I would say that there's a lot of homework required before we make it formal or think on something on those lines, because startups do have lots of varieties of trouble.
Absolutely.
And we're not talking about one or two lawyers. We're talking about probably a team or a battalion of lawyers helping the startups out. But yeah, definitely it's an idea. So where do you see the city in 3 years from now?
So 3 years, by all estimates, we're going to have another 30,000 people in Frisco. So we'll be well into the 225 mark. The PGA area will be in Fields Project, which will hopefully be voted on next week. Will be well into its construction, maybe even done, hopefully, by that time. I want to see Frisco as a destination of the area for people to come and spend their money. That's actually one of the places where I want to see us grow our revenues through our sales tax. I want to see more and more people come to Frisco specifically to spend money, so we have more money to spend on Frisco.
Nice. Okay. Anything else you would like to talk to tell our viewers over here about what are the other plans you have? And you mentioned that you are an advocate for animal rights.
Yeah.
Any specific project which is bothering you or something that you want to bring to the forefront?
So I was actually a consultant to the city on the recent pet ordinances. There's a couple of tweaks that I would like some additional restrictions put into place for that, mainly for the oversight and protections of our consumers, as well as the health of the animals that I see being bought at pet stores. I would like to see us work with some of our partnering nonprofits here locally to use better education, being able to communicate to the community different importance of spay and neuter clinics, microchip clinics, things that would really help to lower down our homeless animal population, as well as helpful to get returned animals back to their owners when they do get lost.
Sure. Any comments on the latest news in circulation, Corona?
It's kept me very busy this week. I do understand why everybody is taking precautions. I think we should take precautions. I think if everybody can just calm down for a week, everybody can self-quarantine for a little bit, take the advice of the school board who said, let's stay at home. Let's make sure we stop this spreading. Then we can see how far is it within our community. And then we can make intelligent decisions going forward. Whether or not is this really as high risk as some people think it is? Is it really as low risk as some people think it is? Honestly, I don't think we know yet. It's still too new. But I do think we need to be protecting our population, especially the people that are high risk. So I applaud those who have already volunteered. Thank you to those who have volunteered to go help with the senior citizens, making sure they don't have to go to the city, those people who have donated to Fast Packs, and making sure that the kids who usually get their food at school are now getting their food at home. So I am so amazed by this community every day, by the way that we're helping each other. So Frisco, you are amazing.
Any last words?
I think the last thing that I would say is that, yes, I work for a startup now, but I have worked for multiple Fortune 500 companies. I have extensive business knowledge, and I know I'm a very financially minded individual. So I would say you need to vote for me because I do bring a new perspective to the city. I have not been working in the city for years and have the same perspectives that they do. That's why we have a council. We have essentially a board of directors. You want people with a variety of opinions being as that board of directors to support you in your path forward. And I believe that I bring a different perspective than what everybody else has there.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you, Badri.
Thank you for being a candidate and bringing a new perspective.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.